one of the things that I think informs any big picture is values. I think when you create a big picture in your mind, or when you subscribe to any big picture, it has to be values based. And one of the values that we've had as an agency is, number one, we are not we're not the audience of the client. We're not. We are simply there to work with the client as a catalyst to what they're doing, and by doing that, that is why. So if you look at the work that we've done as an agency, we've also done work for the government. We've also done work for institutions, public institutions. We've done work for presidential candidates, including the ones that are in power. But we've been able to declare our interests where we are engaged by a specific organization. If people look at the transition that our agency did between 2016 and 2017, we literally worked with everyone. But at all those times, we're very clear about our interest, to say I am conflicted at this moment. And we've also then been clear that what we are bringing to you is not our political support. What we're bringing to you is our technical expertise that will be able to take this brief and deliver to it. And when you look at an issue of compromises and trade-offs, for me, it has always been agencies have an issue with I think with charging and budgeting, which is something that we addressed in the previous modules, that you have to budget for a campaign properly. Why I mentioned this is, if a mentor says to me, everything is for sale at the right price, you don't want to get into a place where you are doing something and you're not compensated for it properly, or you're not compensated enough to the extent that anyone can come with $1 more and then you change your direction. So to just guard against those compromises and trade-offs, your client should understand that when I am saying I'm allowing and I'm accepting to work with you for this period of time, and this is what it will cost, it will not just cost the agency paying his bills and paying the cost of the campaign. It will also cost you to have us fully committed to what we're doing, so that there's a saying that says people are so poor that all they have is money. Because when you're compensated properly, surely you can then defend the values that you're working on, or at least your own values around integrity for yourself. So I think if you budget well, you ward off people that will come to you and entice you with money or with opportunities, as Jay says. For us as an agency, I think on 3 occasions we had that opportunity of a trade-off and a serious compromise. One of them was, while they were very aware, the people in the Ministry of Information sit with me and say, listen, what can we do to counter this narrative? Do you think you can give us a proposal? And obviously, you also have to be diplomatic and use your political acumen in responding to that. For me, usually, it has always been, okay, let me think about it, I'll get back to you. And get back to you or get back to them on email. The idea is put it on record that I would really to take off this offer, but I can't, because as you would know, I'm presently committed to this work, which would be a serious conflict of interest, and that would not work for you, and I think it would not work for my client either. The idea is that you are not saying I can't work with you. You're saying I can't work with you at the present moment because I am engaged. And the other was getting an offer for a company to buy all our billboard spaces in Zimbabwe for like 2 years and say, listen, we want to buy your billboards. I say, okay, we've got billboards, 95% of them are actually on a running campaign. And say, you know what, whatever they paid you, can pay you double for that. But the idea was to pay for the billboards and pack them. And that was a serious compromise, because at one point you could afford to accept the money and repay the client and say, you know what, we can't run this campaign anymore. But that would also be a serious conflict. It would also be a breach of contract. It's just drama that is not necessary for you to deal with. As I'm saying, if you've got your budget right and you've got your heart in the right place, if you believe in the big picture, and as I always say that the big picture has to deal with your value system, you should then be able to say no. And I think the last opportunity for compromise for us was, I wake up in the morning and I have in my box, I have an invite to tender. So I'm sure this tender is public. It was sent to everyone. But just in case that I don't see it, someone who's so influential in the ministry would send you that as like, listen, there's a tender where you can document the work that government has done over the past few years. And to me, this already looks like, if I accept this job, I'm being paid to then drive the picture of what the government has done. And when you look at it, it may be a good thing for the Alpha campaign, but it's not, because it was going to address the what and not the how. I am sure if there was an open heart conversation to say, we want to respond to this and say how, is something I would call my client and say, listen, the government is willing to say how. They want to engage me, I am conflicted, but this is something we should take. So that is going for a trade-off and say, listen, if they're going to say how and they're going to say it properly and it's going to address our questions, let's take it. So the trade-offs that you can take.
Yeah.
But those trade-offs, and whether you say yes or no, has to be built on your values. And the bigger picture that you want to pursue is a value system option. You can't do it if your values don't, if say no. So I think whenever you're conflicted, or you have an opportunity to trade off something you've worked on for a long time, which I think happens even in the CSOs, where people trade off information, where people find themselves compromised. I think if you deal with it with utmost integrity, if you deal with it from a value system, people that want you to trade off, or people that are seeking to compromise you, if they're normal sounding people, they should be able to actually respect you and say, you know what, we could actually use this person at some other time for more meaningful work than lose them, and you get it. So the idea is, use your value system, look within yourself and say, do my value allow me to say yes? I think the most unprofessional and unethical thing anyone can do in business, any business rather, is to work on competing interests. So, and it's also okay to say my relationship with Zimcode, or our relationship as the agency, is done and concluded, and we move on to other work. So if the government invites you to say, we want to work with you to work on our image, and for us it's a different gig, it's a different brief, do we believe in what they want to say, can we deliver, it's a job we can accept. So you should always look within yourself and look within your values and say, can I do this? But advice from running an agency that deals with government and politics and public institutions is difficult to explain a cross line once you cross it. It's better to not cross it.
Cross it, yeah.
So remain in your line of ethics and don't get conflicted. Tomorrow is another day.